Are you a Salesforce admin feeling overwhelmed by short-term demands while trying to keep up with long-term projects simultaneously? I am here to tell you how Salesforce admins can juggle both and make themselves and their organizations successful.
Welcome to the Brainiate Show, where we talk about all things Salesforce, sharing the coolest features, solutions, and best practices to turn you into a Salesforce rock star. Here's your host, former attorney turned Salesforce consultant and trainer, David Giller.
Hi everyone, I'm David Giller, and in this video, I will discuss balancing immediate needs against longer-term requirements. As a Salesforce admin, you know that there are always demands on your time and energy. So I will discuss strategies to help you prioritize while focusing on delivering quality work. Before diving into balancing immediate needs versus long-term requirements, we need to start by assessing the situation. This means taking a step back and analyzing your organization's current needs. To start, ask yourself, what issues are we currently struggling with? What are the most pressing concerns within the business? What needs to be resolved immediately? Once you clearly understand the immediate needs, prioritize them based on what will have the most impact. This means taking into consideration the users who will be affected by the changes and the potential benefits that could result from addressing these needs. For example, if your sales team is struggling to meet their quotas due to data synchronization issues, this problem must be addressed immediately. Fixing this issue can immediately impact sales productivity and ultimately drive higher revenue for the organization. On the other hand, long-term requirements may also need to be addressed. They may not have an immediate impact, but will be necessary for the organization to grow and succeed in the long run. It's important to strike a balance between immediate needs and long-term requirements. This is where your skills as a Salesforce admin come into play. You need to weigh the pros and cons of each need and make thoughtful decisions that will benefit the organization as a whole. As Salesforce admins, we're all familiar with the common request, can we have this feature implemented yesterday? But let's face it, we're not superheroes and we have limits, especially regarding resources and budget. Therefore, it's vital to start with a reality check. Know what your organization can or cannot do at this stage. Understand the current limitations of your resources and budget and set your expectations accordingly. Remember, it's essential to communicate these limitations clearly with your stakeholders. Being transparent about what you can and cannot achieve gives them a realistic picture of what to expect. This leaves no room for misunderstandings and unrealistic demands, leading to frustration and disappointment. Instead, focusing on delivering value where you can and build from there. By doing this, you'll ensure that you're meeting immediate needs while keeping in mind the long-term requirements of your organization. For example, suppose you're working with a limited budget and you don't have access to developers. In that case, you can prioritize specific features critical to your organization and implement them using declarative tools. By setting realistic expectations, you avoid any unnecessary stress on yourself and your team, and this way you can deliver quality outcomes to the business. It's important to look ahead to future projects and objectives that may require additional time, money, or both investments. By considering these needs, you can better prepare for the future and avoid any potential roadblocks that might arise. Think about it this way. If you were planning a road trip, you wouldn't only think about the next immediate rest stop, right? No, you would plan for gas stops, meals, and even potential detours. The same goes for managing a Salesforce instance. Considering long-term needs, you can properly allocate resources, plan for potential changes, and optimize your organization's operations. It's also important to communicate these long-term needs to your team and to stakeholders in order to ensure that everyone is on the same page and working towards the same goals. So, take some time to review your Salesforce instance and consider any potential future needs. Is your organization planning on expanding globally? Will you need to integrate new systems in the future? By asking these questions, you can better prepare for any challenges. Now that we've discussed balancing immediate needs with long-term requirements, it's time to put that knowledge into action. One of the most effective ways to do this is to make an action plan. This means documenting a timeline that takes into account both short-term goals and long-term objectives. Let's break it down. Your short-term goals should focus on what needs to happen in the immediate future to keep your Salesforce system running smoothly. This could include cleaning data, setting up new user accounts, or creating custom reports. Your long-term objectives should be bigger picture goals to help your organization achieve its mission. For example, increasing sales, improving customer satisfaction, or streamlining internal processes. When creating your action plan, prioritize tasks based on their importance and urgency. This will ensure that you're focusing on the most pressing needs first. It's also helpful to assign tasks to specific team members and set deadlines for completion. This will help ensure that everyone is on the same page and working together towards a common goal. As we all know, planning is just the beginning. The true test of success lies in implementation. It's time to implement your plan, but where do you start? First, set up a timeline for your project plan. Break it down into short-term goals that can be achieved within a few weeks or months, and long-term goals that may take several months or even years to achieve. Ensure that each goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Next, establish regular review dates to monitor your project's progress. You can track your progress using spreadsheets or project management software like Asana or Monday or Notion. Review your goals and progress with your team weekly or monthly. Measure your outcomes and adjust your plan as needed. Determine the metrics that you will use to measure success and consistently measure your outcomes. This will allow you to see where you are succeeding and where you need to make some adjustments. Don't forget to celebrate your successes along the way. Recognize and reward your team's hard work. Positive reinforcement can help boost morale and keep your team motivated. As we all know, change is constant. Whether it's new business requirements, updates to Salesforce, or unexpected challenges, we must stay nimble and ready to adjust our project plans accordingly. But how do we go about doing that? One key is to stay connected with stakeholders and end users. Regular communication with them will help identify the changing needs and concerns early on so that we can proactively adjust our plans to meet those needs. Another strategy is to break down larger projects into smaller components. Doing so allows us to continuously evaluate progress, identify risks, and adjust as needed. This approach helps us stay on track and minimizes the impact of any changes that might occur. Lastly, it's important to stay open-minded and willing to experiment. Sometimes the best way to move forward is to try something new and see what happens. Learning from our mistakes and successes allows us to improve our practices and better serve our stakeholders continuously. So as you work on your Salesforce projects, remember to stay flexible and adaptable. By doing so, you're setting yourself up for maximum efficiency and success, both in the short and long term. Join the online Brainiate community today to continue the conversation and collaborate with other Salesforce trailblazers navigating similar challenges. It's a platform where your voice matters, your ideas are valued, and your questions are answered. Together, we can tackle practically any issue and push the boundaries of what's possible with Salesforce. Let's synergize our knowledge, experience, and creativity to build a more efficient and successful future. Join the Brainiate community now, and let's solve the problems of tomorrow today. See you next time.